I grew up as a bit of a nerd, so I never really fit in. So I became obsessed with how other people might think, how other people do things, because I really never could really understand it. I always thought differently and had a different way of doing things. And that's, I guess, why I can't understand why some people get so obstinate, how they get so dug in to their beliefs and their ways of doing things to the point of not allowing themselves to listen to other people's points of view. You know, being a nerd, I learned a lot of scientific information very early, and I consider science kind of the objective view of what the world is like, independent of opinions and interpretive points of view. And it always baffled me how some people could be so ossified in beliefs that are wrong. Ossified, that's a word that Neil deGrasse Tyson turned me on to. I love that word because it describes people so well. You know, like they just become so dug in on beliefs that actually aren't true or aren't rooted in some kind of fact, observable fact that we can all agree upon. And it gets even more frustrating when somebody else's bad decisions have a negative impact on your life. You know, like what right do other people have to make your life, more miserable unnecessarily? We're all guilty of this at some point. I mean, I used to think that cyclists that dress up in all the lycra and have like the expensive aerodynamic helmets and so forth. I always thought maybe they were going a little bit too far because you don't need all that stuff to ride a bike. Let's be honest. All you need is a helmet at most, maybe some knee and elbow pads if you're that concerned about falling, and just like get on your bike and go. I mean, I like carrying patches and tools with me, but that's you don't even need that really. It's helpful if you get a flat, but that becomes a choice at that point. As I got older, I began to understand that people do things for a reason. It may not be a particularly good reason, but it's still a reason. Most people act out of fear. I think that's most of the reason that people become, obstinate and defiant and dug into their beliefs. Even though it may not be rooted in objective truth, they build up their own set of beliefs based on their own experiences. And let's say if they've been screwed over before, their lesson that they've chosen to pick out of it is they don't want to be screwed like that again. So they built up a set of rules and beliefs and systems that may work for them at the time, but when they try to take it to another situation, it may not work for them quite so well. So there was me. I used to be like the science nerd, basically telling everybody, the Earth is round, and this is why lunar eclipses happen, and this is why this happens, this is why that happens, and I would get like blowback from that, and I could never understand why. I mean, I'm coming from a standpoint. I want to help people. I want to inform them. I want to make them better informed and better educated, on topics that I may have expertise in. I want to improve their lives. I'm not looking to, distract them or tell them something false because I have a stake in believing that, and I have a stake in them believing that. But people don't work that way. They work on basically fear and reward. That's pretty much it. I mean, if they have something to gain, or if they fear uh, a retribution, they fear a consequence. Those are really the reasons why people do what they do, and it's hard to deal with sometimes. So, being the outsider and being somewhat of a nerd, um, I've had to learn as I got older that people have a reason to do what they do, and to kind of maybe learn what their reasons are. Sometimes their fears are completely reasonable. Sometimes they have something to say, and you have to listen. And then there are people that they're not going to believe what you tell them because they have to learn the hard way. These are people that have to run head first, full speed into a brick wall, and then when they hit it, it's like, ouch, that hurts. And you're sitting there going, I could have told you that, but you wouldn't listen. And you just have to let those people learn their own way. But sometimes, if you listen to them hard enough, I mean, they have a point of view that might make sense to them. And even some things that don't make sense in an objective sense, um, they have some element of reasoning, and you can kind of get behind the scenes as the way they think. Like the cyclists, I thought would go were kind of a little bit overboard, buying all the lycra and the aerodynamic helmets and whatnot. Um, some people just like that sort of thing. It's comfortable for them. It prevents you from sweating quite so much, or at least helps you dissipate the sweat better. Some of them have extra padding and cushioning in places where, you know, maybe they'd like to feel a little more protected or supported. So they may have their reasons. And I don't think it should exclude us from listening to other people's points of view. Have you ever been caught in a conversation, you know, where you're listening to somebody and you're thinking like, wow, this person is completely bat crap crazy. You know, like they really have nothing to offer. And then suddenly, out of the blue, out of nowhere, they come up with something that makes complete sense and it sticks with you. Sometimes listening to other people's points of view really uncover things that you wouldn't have otherwise thought of. And maybe that's information that may not be useful in the moment. Maybe it's something you can carry to something else. Maybe they've inadvertently given you an answer to a question that you weren't even talking about at the time. It's completely different and it affects another part of your life. So I found growing older and being the nerd that I am, I've kind of learned to have it both ways. You know, I can learn, I can know my math, my science, all the things that are objective truths in the world, but I can also accept people's personal truths. You know, things that don't quite make sense to me, but they make sense to other people. And I've been able to try to integrate that into how I understand and interact with people. Just like anything I say here, it's all basically to help you out. Um, Maybe make you think of something you haven't thought of before. There's nothing concrete or set in stone. I'm not really an authority on anything. I'm just giving you the benefit of my experience, and maybe there's something along the line that you can use. Maybe 99% of what I say is complete crap, but but I guess, you know, does it hurt to listen? Hopefully not. I just think if we learn to listen to each other and we're not quite so ossified or dug into our own positions and our own points of view, I think maybe this world would be a better place. Anyhow, that's all I have for today. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, subscribe, and ring that bell for more content. Thank you very much. Until next time.